Hey guys, Alyse Williams here, continuing this video series. At this point, the best way for you to make sure that you don't miss any of these videos is to go ahead and subscribe to this particular YouTube channel. I have a couple YouTube channels, but I'll be housing these videos on this particular YouTube channel. So if you happen to miss any on Facebook, I'm going to try to post one daily. Not sure I can promise that, especially with some travel I have coming up this week. But if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will be able to catch them. So today, I need you to work with me. I need you to really follow me because it may seem all over the place, and it kind of will be, but you know, sometimes you got to go around things in order to get back to what the real message is, right? So we're kind of going to do a little bit about that today. So if I were to ask you who you are, right, you would probably tell me your name, right? Like, well, who am I? I'm Alyse Williams, okay? So then my next question would be, are you really your name? You know, am I really Alyse, right? Is that really who I am? Well, I guess I'm not really my name. You know, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a fitness coach. Okay, so what was I before I was those things, right? Well, you know, maybe you'll go back to, well, I was a college student, you know, I majored in biology, got a degree in biology, was going to go to medical school, decided not to do that. Okay, so that's not who you are, because who were you before that? Well, I was a ballerina growing up, dedicated 11 years of my life, you know, homeschooled, the whole nine. Okay, well, what were you before that? Okay, so you see where I'm going. We're not what we do, right? We're not these labels we put on ourselves. Okay, so hold that thought because we're going to come back to it. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to look around you wherever you are. I'm outside, obviously. So if I were to look around, you know, I would see certain things. I would take in certain things. I would smell certain things. I would have a certain vision of what's in front of me, right? And I would just kind of take things in. I wouldn't really think about it. I wouldn't really contemplate about it. I'm not going to try to describe it right now. So just look around and just take in what it is that you're seeing. Okay, just take it in. Don't think about it. Just see it. Okay? All right, so now if you were to engage in describing what it is, right? So now if I were to sit here and say, okay, well, across the street, I see a brick house, there's 2 chairs on the porch, they have a couple decorative wreaths on the door, there's a black car and a white truck in the driveway, there's some kids' toys in the driveway, there's a couple plants, some bushes, right? Once you get into describing things, you become much more engaged, and you know, it's a longer process, right? So when you look at things without thinking, you can truly just take it in for what it is, right? You don't have to describe it, you don't have to label it, you don't have to put a name on it, right? So it's very similar to what we said about who you are, right? So when you start to understand that you're not those particular things that you call yourself, you're simply the person, the spirit, the being that is taking in those things, that has experienced those things, right? So you start to understand that you are simply the one who's seeing it, right? You're simply the one experiencing it. And as you look out, you become aware of the events, thoughts, and emotions that are just passing before you, right? I have no reason to get engaged in, you know, what the person across the street from me is doing. I have no reason to do that. I'm simply taking it in. I'm simply observing it. So when you realize that you really can do that, right? And you can realize that you can get ahead of your thoughts and ahead of what's going on in your mind, as opposed to constantly being behind it, that's when you can start to gain the power, and it's not control, right? Control is a very weak emotion. You start to gain the power of what's already inside of you that allows you to respond as opposed to react, okay? Because when you start to take the seat in your life that you're an observer of your life, And you don't have to sit there and put labels and descriptions and analyze everything that's going on in your life and become engaged in everything that's going on in your life. And you can simply sit back and become the observer in your life. That's when you really start to become aware. That's when you really start to wake up. That's when you really start to live from a place of consciousness, as opposed to just, being this busybody who's always engaged in everything. And I'm not saying you sit back and do nothing. Trust me, I work extremely hard in my business. I'm constantly engaged with my children and my husband and relationships and things like that. So I'm not saying, you're sitting on top of a mountain somewhere just meditating, right? But this is a process of you to start to identify who you think you are and what you think you have to do, as opposed to how God truly created you to be. And understand that you're a human being, not a human doing. Okay? So I'm going to leave it at that, right? This is just about taking little nuggets, soaking them in. So stay tuned, because honestly, you guys, we are just getting started. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. Talk to you soon.